Welcome back to the Strong AF Club podcast. Today we're filming episode 21, and as always, I'm your co-host Nate Craig, joined by...
Asim Fayez.
Guys, everyone talks about the reps, the set, and the grind. But what about the stuff you can't log on your training app? The ego hits, the doubt, the pressure to stay relevant, the fear of losing your identity if you ever stopped lifting. Today we're not talking about strength numbers. We're talking about the weight you carry in silence. So, Asim, these are some deep questions here, some definitely thought-provoking ones. First one being, do you think most lifters, in your experience, are running towards something or from something? I have my own thoughts on that already.
I want to hear your thoughts on this. Because
I think they're running from something most of the time, because you have even said in previous episodes and in your 15-plus years of experience that the biggest transformations you've seen have stemmed from either A, a life-changing event, like a death in the family or something, something big like that. 2, a doctor told you that you need to kind of kick your butt in gear kind of thing. And I honestly forget the third one. But point being, they're running away from those kinds of things. Whether that's to better their health or, change their physical appearance or whatnot. I personally believe the majority of people are running from something.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think the ones who are the most successful, because I think everyone has a goal.
Yeah.
I think everyone's chasing a goal, a dream, a look, a strength, or something. So I think everyone...
What are you chasing right now?
Health and physique.
Okay.
Pretty heavy on that. But I think with people, I think everyone has a goal when they go to the gym. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have gone to the gym. Like, there's very few are like, I think I should do this. I'm just gonna do it. Like, everyone in their head, whether they are able to articulate it and say it out loud, or they are afraid to make it real, everyone has something they're chasing. There's a goal that you hear, and then there's a goal you don't see. There's a goal that you hear, which is, I really don't care about my physique. I think I just want to focus on getting stronger for a little bit. That's, I don't want to say a form of silent quitting, but that's almost a form of protection. People are guarding themselves from the failure of, what if I don't hit that physique goal? So they, a lot of times, put that in the back of their head, because they still want that. Who doesn't want to look good naked in the mirror looking at themselves?
Yeah.
Period. Everyone wants to be proud of what they see. Whether what that looks like for you is going to be drastically different than the next person. So there's no right answer there. But everyone wants to like what they look at. Now, with that being said, I think a lot of people will say, I want to get stronger, but there's probably a hidden physique goal somewhere in there. Now, whether or not they believe they can hit it or not will determine whether or not they actually articulate it. I think everyone chases something. But I think the ones who are the most successful are the ones who are also running from something. Because if you're running from something, but you have nothing to chase, don't target, and you're just running, you'll go somewhere, but you'll burn out. And you're kind of directionless. And that's the person that has a shotgun approach. They do a little bit of everything. They don't really have a lighthouse they're swimming towards. So I'd say the ones who are the most successful are the ones who have something they're running from that's big enough and motivating enough to run from, like what you said, but also have a lighthouse that they're focused on. A lot of people make a lighthouse, but they have nothing to run from. So there's nothing to motivate them to leave the point in the woods they're in.
No, and to keep that, because it's, I know I encountered this today during my run. I'm running, and it got to that second mile, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm freaking tired.
Yeah.
I'm done. And because I didn't have some huge life-changing event, or, I'm lucky enough to have good health, I'm not running from some health condition or something, I didn't have that demon behind me that kept me pushing today, so I did call it at that 2 miles.
Yeah.
However, had I had something like that, it could have been different had I been, diagnosed with something or had some huge life-changing event that I was running from. So that's an interesting answer.
Yeah, I definitely think everyone starts off with something to run towards. But to be successful, you need both. And very few are just straight up running from something. But those who run from something that don't have a direction or a lighthouse they're chasing, they're pretty scattered in their approach. They're usually the ones that are program hoppers.
Interesting. Okay.
or their goals are different every week or every month.
This is kind of a funny one. This next one. How do you handle progress envy? Like when a client or a teammate starts outshining you, how would you feel if I walked out there right now and I deadlifted 700 pounds?
Me?
Yes.
I think that comes with the maturity as a coach.
Yes.
Because I think in my early years, like if this would have happened like 2 years in, I would have been like, damn, bro, why am I the coach? But 15 years later, I'm thinking, damn, bro, that's why I'm the coach. It's my job to get you to your destination faster than I got to mine in a much more concise and safer way. I traveled that path to then cut the weeds down in the bushes to clear a path and pave the road to make it easier for someone else to follow. To then make it easier for someone else to follow. To then make it easier for someone else to follow. So I think a good coach would be excited about that. So your guys' PRs are just as much mine as they are yours. Just because it's like, if you can get to where you got to faster than me, even better. If you can exceed what I've done in a fraction of the time it took me to even get to where I got to, I did my job.
Yeah, then the Padawan has become the Jedi Master.
I did my job. I passed the torch effectively. I didn't gatekeep. I think the envy is on the coaching side, I think the envy comes from, I think the envy can lead to a form of gatekeeping, and it's very dangerous. It's dangerous territory. I think people need to really audit themselves and understand why they're feeling what they're feeling if you're a coach. If you're now just another gym goer and your buddies are getting a little bit more progress than you, a little bit faster, and you get a little bit envious, jealous, envy, I don't know if those are the correct words, but if you look at that person, you're like, damn, I wish. But then I don't think that thought's the important one. That thought, I think, is natural. I think everyone's gonna be like, fuck, I don't want that. I don't want what he has. I want what she has. I don't want to do that. I don't think that's the important thought. I think the thought that comes next is the most important one. I don't wish I want that. But it's only because they are on this. Oh, I want this. But they only have it because of, like, if you start making excuses for why they have it and you don't, or you start wishing for them to not have it, that is where you start getting into dangerous territory. Instead, changing that inner dialogue to, fuck yeah, they can do it, so can I. If they were able to do it with these circumstances, what am I capable of? If they can do it in the same building that I just did it in, maybe I can too.
Interesting.
So
okay.
It's you're looking at the same water bottle. Everyone looks at it and says, oh, it's a water bottle. Now, which side of the label you read, after the fact you've identified it's a water bottle, is going to determine how you internalize that. And I think that is natural for people because you watch kids, you watch dogs, you watch chimps. I mean, there's studies done on this left and right. I think everyone does it naturally. Without thinking about it, early on you do this. Now, that second thought is practice, in my opinion. I think it's a practice skill of, damn, that's sick. I'm stoked for them. That's my teammate. Or, dude, they did that? Maybe I can too. Versus, man, it's only because of this or that. Or they did that. Or I have this. If you start laying the bricks down of excuses, you're going to build a high wall that you're going to have to climb over later. But just like you build those bricks, you can take apart those bricks early on and stop them from building up by practicing the skill. And you may have a wall, but just like it took one brick at a time to build the wall, it's going to take one brick at a time to tear down the wall. So I think if you find yourself doing that and you want to change that, what I have found, because I was that way, is practicing with the next time you see that. It's literally like a book I'm reading right now. It's called The Next Conversation. And it's, you have the next time, the next opportunity, the next PR as an opportunity to move the brick in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, fuck, yo, Tyler just squatted, whatever. Fuck yeah. Maybe I can too. Now I just laid the brick in the right direction. I'm building the correct wall now, not the wrong wall, you know?
I see.
So I think it's a skill. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not a psychologist, a therapist. It just, that has what worked for me, especially early on when I was younger as an athlete, is I didn't even have it that intensely. It was not like, oh, they did this because of this. I never made excuses for why someone else can do something that I couldn't do. It was more of an anger that I wasn't there yet. And I let it fuel me, but then they became like my internal enemy. Like, I have to beat you. I need to beat you now. And a lot of times these motherfuckers didn't even know who I was. I would just see someone lift me.
Like, why is that guy staring at me
like
from
this guy
across the
lift me.
gym?
I'm like, oh, now I cannot be the weakest one here. I have to lift this person. So now it is my sole mission to be stronger than this person. The whole time, this motherfucker doesn't know who I am.
You know,
So-
you said, as you were talking from both the coach's perspective and like just your buddies kind of thing, maturity. So from a coach's perspective, that's a kind of a beautiful way to look at it. Hey, you know, I can only bench 135, but one of my students now can bench 225. I'm stoked for him. That means I am obviously doing something right, especially if you've had that client for a while and you can watch him grow. How awesome is that as a coach? And then from the friend side of things, or just kind of like your buddies, I actually, what you were saying, I look at David. David's another one of our coaches here for the viewers that don't know. And he can squat, 500 plus. I cannot. But the way I look at it, I'm hyped for him for that. And at the same time, I know him. I know his habits. And instead of being like, oh man, I don't know if I can do that or something. Okay, I see what David's doing. I'm going to fine tune it even harder and get there quicker kind of thing. That's
you can learn from his journey.
Exactly. Yeah.
Learn from his journey and make your own. Right? You can take that path he took and make it even better. Like, there's always a way to shape the narrative into something more positive and something that helps propel you actually forward, making another lighthouse to chase.
True. And be careful, because with the progress envy, that stuff is real. And a lot of times, guys, comparison is the thief of joy. You're just stick to your own goals. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. You can use them as motivation, but don't sweat it too much.
I think that's what kills a lot of people. I remember I would see this a lot, where people would want to be the best at something, and when they couldn't, they stopped doing the thing. And it's like, well, remember in the first place, when you started, you weren't the best. And there's always going to be someone out there that's going to be better or stronger that you probably just haven't heard of. But more so, yes, you want to chase the top, but don't lose sight of why you did the thing in the first place. Like, don't forget why you came to the gym every single day, you went to work every single day, whatever it is, and busted your butt every single day. Or don't forget why you did that. And that's something I have to remind myself all the time, and it's something that actually a mentor of mine said to me like 3 months ago, which is, remember why you're doing all this. And that, to me, fucking shook me to my core. Because it's so easy to get lost in the...
like minutia.
That, or like get lost in the excitement of the progress, especially when progress is going to be quick. Things are changing. You're seeing changes and you're growing in, or whatever it is, whether it's in life, business, fitness, doesn't matter, on the mats. It's easy to get caught up on that and allow your head to get big, or two, get consumed by it. But if you don't have a strong lighthouse beacon to keep you grounded on where you're like a compass, then, because your why is your compass, right? If you don't have a strong compass, it's easy to get lost. And then when that thing slows down, the progress slows down, or you get injured or something happens, the things either go backwards or stall for a long time. If you don't have a strong why, you don't remember why, that's usually when people fade away, because they're so caught up in the competition that they start losing sight of the reason they did this in the first place. None of us started lifting and we're competing day one.
Right.
We all lifted, and then eventually like, oh, maybe I could compete. But everyone lifted, most likely, if you're a 90s kid, 80s kid, probably because you watched Dragon Ball Z or something like that, everyone lifted because they was like, oh, I want to get a little bit stronger, I want to improve my physique, or if it was for sport, something along those lines, right? And then eventually it becomes something different. But you cannot forget the first reason why you did it and what made you fall in love. That first time you get bit by the iron bug, and now you're like hooked because you got your first PR, that was like, I like the way this feels. Because a lot of people were reluctant when they first started.
Yeah.
And some people, like if you're like me, fucking was punching and screaming every time you went to the gym. I was forced into the gym. I didn't want to. And it wasn't until I stayed with it for like 3 months straight and didn't miss a day that I started seeing like pretty intense results.
Like, hold on.
And I was like, this shit works? And then it was like a drug. And here we are. Fucking 18 years later.
I like the fact that you use the analogy of a lighthouse because of kind of like that goal, as opposed to like a star or something like that. Because the way I see it, if your goal, people change over time. If your goal was like a star. The star stays the same brightness or whatever, same path, whatever, the amount of light emitted, all of it stays the same. And you can walk the same direction to that goal. A lighthouse is a little bit different. The actual structure stays in the same place, but the light is constantly moving. So while you're making your way to that goal, there's... it sounded way cooler in my head.
No. So I'm expanding on that. When it's rotating around, those are the moments and times where your why isn't as strong, but you need to trust it's still right there.
Ooh.
And then the reason I like the lighthouse. The reason I like the lighthouse analogy, most definitely not the White House analogy, is there's an unpredictable sea between you and that lighthouse at all times. And that sea is life and all the random shit it's going to throw your way. And the different directions that current could pull you, because the current's constantly changing. Moon's a little bit closer, high tide, right? So it's when things are shifting and the currents are pulling you in different directions, and those currents can be life, those currents can be different goals, those currents can be envy, things like that. Having that thing, that your core value of why you're doing this, that lighthouse, keeps you centered and on target. And when that light shines away and it gets a little dim, you need to trust that it's still there, because it will come back around. But if you don't keep looking at that thing, when it comes back around and you're now looking in a different direction, you won't see it shining back at you.
Oh, that was so good. That's what I was about to say. Damn, that was good.
Yeah. So I think there's something to be said about having, I don't want to say tunnel vision, right? Because you still want to be able to see everything around you, but there's something to be said about committing. And that's another reason I like the lighthouse analogy. I use it so many different ways, but one of the ways is commitment. It's like committing to a goal, committing to a cause, committing to a target. And it's like, if you allow your resolve to dwindle every time the light turns away from you,
you just stand still.
You'll fucking change goals every month.
Yeah.
Every time that thing rotates away and you can't see the light, it's like, okay. But if you just commit, that's the direction, and you keep going, light turns away from you, you know, okay, it's in this general direction, light shines back on, let me adjust a little bit, now I'm going here. And then the current pulls you away, light shines back in, oh fuck, let me adjust right this way. That is why I like the lighthouse analogy so much, because that applies to literally everything, especially in regards to goals, whether it's on the mats, whether it's in business, whether it's in fitness, doesn't matter. It's when you have a goal, get to the lighthouse before you go to the next one, right? It's okay to move the goalpost back as long as you get to the goalpost first. Don't move a goalpost you never reached, because then you're just going to be chasing something you can never fucking catch. Get to the goalpost, then move it yourself. Don't let someone else move your goalpost.
God damn, spitting nautical bars over here.
That's what I'm caffeinated.
That's what I'm saying. I need some of that. All right, next question. Ooh, this one's good. How do you train someone who doesn't want it as bad as you do? So, for instance, like, you're a gym guy. It's one of your passions. If you get a new student or something and you see a lot of potential, but they just don't have that dog in them, how do you train someone like that? It's got to be kind of frustrating when you can tell that it's just not there.
This is the number one reason I think most trainers quit. Is they immediately want to start training, personal training. They see what some of the finances can be. They think, oh, I'm going to be training people, teaching them the things I love to do. I'm going to be talking with other gym people and getting them to work out. It's going to be exciting. I'm going to train them, etc. Remember, you didn't hire a trainer. You became a trainer because you have that fire. These people hired you because they don't have that fire and need the accountability.
Oh.
The majority of the people you're going to interact with aren't you, which is why you're on that side of the desk and they're on the other side. So to start setting the expectation early on that you're going to be interacting with athletes and all this stuff before, one, you earned your stripes, and two, assuming that's the population that wants to work with you, you're going to be doomed and you're going to be upset and depressed, because you're going to realize that no one looks at fitness as an art the way you do. I look at the barbell as my paintbrush, and every body that walks in here is a canvas. And this weight room is my art studio. So when I look at every physique that walks in here, every lift that's done in here, I look at it like my art project. I get joy just sitting in here. It's why I sit in here when I'm not working. There's just enjoyment in watching everything transpire. You write it up, you concoct it, think about all these ideas, you put it down, and then you watch them do the thing, and then you see the physiques changing. Like today, you guys will see the post tomorrow. The physique change, that transformation, the 8-week one we did with Curtis. That shit's sick. Like that lit up my day because he used the paintbrush on his blank canvas to then make art. That's how I view it. That's not how he views it, right?
Yeah.
That's why he hired me. But to think you're going to be training people like you is ridiculous. It's like a business owner assuming they're going to hire other people in their business that are like them. They would own their own business if they were you.
Ooh.
They would already be trainers if they were you.
So what is some advice you would give to somebody that's thinking about becoming a personal trainer and stuff like that, given what you just said?
You started off with a passion to work out or an insecurity you wanted to work out when you went into the gym. And you eventually worked through your ebbs and flows. And some people turned it into a passion. Some of it looked at it as a thing that transformed and changed their life. And others just look at it as a thing they just do as their daily routine. Understanding that everyone starts around the same time and that it's your job as a librarian to guide them through those halls to find their path. Because eventually they may not be that person that day. But you have the opportunity to show them why this is your passion and how they can also find their own journey to make it their own passion one day. Because for me, it was the big three: squat, bench, deadlift. That is not why I enjoy lifting anymore, but it's what made me lift for almost 18 years, right? That was like all I could think about. And it's like showing people that through these 3 lifts, you can too taste the joy. But sometimes it's not the flavor for them. So I'd say that the advice I would have is, with every single person you interact with, if you're a trainer, it is an opportunity to show others why this is your passion and how they can find their own version of it for themselves. And understanding that what makes you excited in the gym is not what's going to make them excited. It may be something completely different. And it can change over time. Example. For me, it was squat, bench, deadlift. That was my passion for a long time. But now there's other lifts that make me more excited, other training modalities that make me more excited. And then there's people like you who came in, who wanted to lose the weight, and then you went down the powerlifting route. You did a powerlifting meet, and then it went to a physique. And there was no longer an emphasis on that. And that's okay. It's part of your journey. It's the story you're writing. I'm not here to teach you how to write my book. We're not doing it. We're not copying. We're not doing plagiarism here. I'm not having you just copy my pages onto your own page. I'm here to show you how to write your own page. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So I'd say the advice is understand the people you're going to be working with are not like you, and that is why they're hiring you. It is your job to show them why you love this as much as you do and help them find the thing that they enjoy most in the weight room so they eventually could pass the torch too.
Damn, that's good.
The greatest joy for me is I did this. The weight training sounds so fucking whack when people are like, oh, it saved my life. But like literally this was like when everything was going to shit in my life, this was the main constant. And I drew a lot of enjoyment from lifting and the art of lifting and technique and just position, just understanding how the human body moves. I mean, animals and humans, everything, just mammal movement to me is fascinating. That is to the core why I like what I do. It's just mammal movement. And then seeing how someone can arrange their body to then do these crazy feats of strength was super fascinating. Being able to then take that passion, train a bunch of people to then eventually, because all the trainers in here were my clients first. So training a bunch of people to then eventually learn to make this passion a career, like I eventually made it mine, to then have them train a bunch of people who eventually will want to make this a career, to then eventually train a bunch of people, and so on and so forth. It's like the passing of the torch and watching the torch continue to be passed is where my enjoyment comes from now.
I feel like that's how grandparents feel, kind of thing. Like they have a kid and it's wonderful, and then you see their kids have kids, kind of thing.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I got Grace.
Hey. No, that was good, man. The next one. Ooh. Is there a hidden tax to being the strongest person in the room? So everybody thinks, oh, strongest guy walks in, oh, that guy can bench 400 pounds, he can squat whatever. What do you think some of those taxes are? And it, by the way, this can go beyond the weight room. It can be the best guy on the mats in jiu-jitsu. It can be the best shot putter. It doesn't matter.
I think when someone becomes the best, it's dangerous. for their growth for a couple of reasons. The main one is the pressure to always perform and show what excellence looks like, and be the guy is tough.
Or girl.
Which will then, for a lot of people, or girl, being the best and being labeled as the best and then being expected, or you're setting, sometimes people don't even set the expectation. You're setting the expectation to yourself that you need to continue to be the best, which can be done well. However, some people would, when you set that expectation for yourself, you don't allow yourself the space and grace to step down and try things you're not good at, or try some things that are different, that may, when you circle back, push you even further. A lot of people stall their progress on the mats and in the weight room because they continue to do the things they're good at, because they don't ever want to be seen. They never want to be seen doing the things they're not good at, because they're always labeled as the best.
Okay.
So I think like for me, I've ran into that before. Everyone's run into that, and I think that's another reason I like jiu-jitsu a lot too. I'm not the best on the mat for sure, so I always have the space to work on things that I suck at and improve on. And it's like taking that lesson of like, oh, well, if I just work on these things that I'm not good at, instead of always doing the things I like to do and bottlenecking myself so I'm never allowed to do those things, and then coming back to then put it all together to see how it actually improves in totality of the game, and seeing how it improves everything, allowed me to have the space in the weight room to then say, okay, you know what, I'm really, really good at these 3 lifts. I'm now going to just do another 3 lifts that I'm not good at, that I know would, by getting better at, will enhance those main. So that's why for like that 2-year period, most people no one saw me deadlift. I didn't deadlift at all. I barely back squatted, and I pretty much just shoulder pressed. But then for that 8-month period where I started doing all 3 again, everyone's like, how the fuck is your progress flying so fast? Remember that all the way up to New Year's? And I was like, all right, by New Year's I want to do this. And then numbers were flying, and I was like, damn, how's that flying? Like, how'd you add over 100 pounds to your deadlift in only 9 sessions? It's like, because you didn't look at the last 2 years of what I was doing. I did all the shit I hated for 2 years. So that way when I came back to do the things I loved, I had the strength and the attributes that were developed from these other things, because I allowed myself to have the space to do the things I sucked at and not give a fuck what people thought, to then come back 2 years later to hit the goals I've always wanted to hit. Now I've checked off most of the strength goals I've been chasing for like a decade. Now I got to make new goals. I just didn't think I was going to hit them as quick as I did.
Interesting. Okay. So from that, I wonder if that's why the saying first the worst, second the best. Sucks to be first. And from that aspect, second, you're not feeling that same kind of pressure sort of thing. But what about, so you're saying if you're always that top dog kind of thing, you don't have that grace, that space to potentially be able to develop in different areas because you're held to that standard of being the best. What about something like bodybuilding, where someone has the best physique, they're judged on their physique, and they literally are the best?
So really good example. So someone, and dude, I'm gonna use myself as an example because this is perfect. When I was younger, growing up, my siblings pushed me into physique when my brother really talked about like, I'm shredded, whatever. So coming out of high school, I was diced. And every year, I wanted to bulk up because I wanted to fill out my frame. I wanted to get bigger. But didn't want to not be shredded. So I would start the bulk. And as soon as I would start seeing the veins and everything started disappearing on my abs, I was like, oh, no. I can't do this. So I'd cut again. And what that led to was almost 8 years of looking the fucking same and adding maybe only 10 total pounds. Because I was I was not okay not being shredded, that I never allowed myself to go through a duration of time where I actually could put on meaningful mass. Until I finally did. And a couple of things came from that. Physique drastically changed. Strength drastically climbed. My mood drastically improved.
Probably because you could eat.
Not only can I eat, I'm actually hitting the goals.
Oh, true.
I'm not sitting there looking back at the last 8 years like, what the fuck did I actually accomplish?
Well, and hitting PRs and stuff. Mass moves mass.
Yeah, the thing is, people aren't willing to take steps back to take many forward. It's like, I'll use a business analogy. It's like a stingy business owner who's not willing to share the money and doesn't hire anybody because they want to keep all the money themselves. Well, what if spending more now on people to do what they need to do will allow you to make even more later? Is that worth the cost? Is $50K worth losing 200?
Could be. Depends, yeah.
Spend the $50K, you make 200, or you keep the $50K and now you only have $50K. It's like, It's the same thing with lifting. It's the same thing with jiu-jitsu. It's like, instead of trying to be the mat god that wins every single round, no one gives a fuck about on the mats. Why don't you just spend the next 6 months picking one or two things and just stick to it and just try to get really good at it? And then go back 6 months later and see how much progress did you make. Very few people do that. Very, very few people will do that on the mats, let alone in the gym, especially in life. This is why so many people write the same chapter year after year after year after year, and their lives look the fucking same. And those are the people 10 years later look back at their life and be like, what if? Could have been. I should have. You don't want that. You don't want that conversation. That internal talk with you 10 years later is so much worse than the one that's going to happen now. Just deal with it now. Deal with the embarrassment, whatever it is that's holding you back now, because the version of you 10 years from now is not the one you want to be talking to.
Damn.
Because also, you're never getting those years back. But no one's going to remember that embarrassing moment. But
True.
You're not going to get those 10 years back.
Wow. Yeah, you're not wrong.
No.
On that note, the next one. What if you could... Ooh, these are for our injured viewers. What if you couldn't train for 6 months? You in particular. What if you couldn't train for 6 months? You're in like a full body cast or something. How would you cope?
That'd be so fucking hard.
Yeah.
If I couldn't train... This is why I say lifting and jiu-jitsu is
Don't
not
use it
therapy.
as therapy. Yeah,
it's not therapy. It's just an avenue. It's just another paintbrush in the easel. You have to have many brushes. If this is the only way you have to... If physical is the only way you have to express your emotions and to deal with them, you're going to be doomed. Because when the physical is taken away, then what?
Even if you're not injured, just... The older you get,
I think everyone needs intellectual. Yeah, I think everyone needs intellectual. They need a creative, and they need a physical. I'm sure there's more if I give this more thought.
Yeah.
But I think it's physical, creative, and intellectual. You need to be doing something to challenge your mind. Sudoku, fucking learn something, read something, whatever. Physical, because you need an outlet to express movement. Where body's made to move, so go move it. Movement is medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think creative. You have to challenge your brain to think. Especially in the day and age of AI, where everyone doesn't fucking think, they just ask stupid questions and they let AI do their thinking. Practice the ability to think and use your brain, whether it's creating art, writing a book, making something. I don't fucking know, but you don't need your body to do everything. Not every exciting thing in the world is tied to the weight room or to physical. So if you're out for 6 months, that's 6 months of opportunity to work on creative and mental that you weren't doing before because physical took up that space. I would look at it as an opportunity.
Wow. All right. So,
for example, remember when I blew my back out, had a freak accident, slipped a disc, couldn't go anywhere. So what I do? Got really fucking creative. Got work done, but also downloaded a bunch of knowledge. Just learned as much as I could.
Damn, dude.
Otherwise, I'd go fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Think about if I focus on things I couldn't do, then I will never allow myself to think about the things I can do. And being the most adaptive creatures on the planet, I refuse to believe a small little injury for 6 months is what's going to deteriorate us. We're way more durable than that. People just allow themselves to be fragile, but we actually are not that fragile. Being fragile is a choice.
Do you think?
100%.
In what way?
It's a mental choice. It's your capacity. Physically fragile is way different. But I'm saying, like, allowing yourself to be mentally fragile is a choice. You have to make the first conscious decision to understand that you are allowing this to happen. You are allowing yourself to be fragile right now, which then means you have the ability to work towards being durable. You can't just be like, oh, I'm durable. You have to work towards that lighthouse, but you have to swim away from the one that you've been hovering around this whole time, which is the safe one, the lighthouse of fragile.
Yeah, man, I had a title for this episode and everything. Now I got to make it something about lighthouses. It's just too good.
The fragile lighthouse.
Well, hey, man, that's all we got. Guys, that's all we got for you today. I really appreciate it. As always, remember to like, comment, subscribe. Keep those questions coming. We could not do this if it wasn't for you guys.
And you can reach us on Instagram at
NFCraig_. I think I've said NFC_ on some of those. That's a lie. I don't know who that is. It's NFCraig.
Unfollow that guy and follow the correct
unfollow
one.
that guy.
Asim_NVBC. And also, if you guys can, whether it's on YouTube or on Instagram or DM, Discord, whatever, message us. I'm curious about something. All week, I've been getting feedback on our podcast. And earlier today, after practice, I had a lot of people sat me down, and actually I haven't told you this either.
Oh, really?
They were saying they're getting really annoyed with the podcasts because they wish they were longer. People are looking forward to the podcast each week. They're enjoying the podcasts, and they feel like they're getting blue balled because they get 20 minutes and have to wait 7 days for the next 20. So I'm curious, what is the ideal length of these not any podcasts? Because the reason we did it this way is if you listen to a lot of jargon, random podcasts, like we want it to be a car ride's length, and I can't sit for more than 20 minutes. But not gonna lie, for the first time I listened to a podcast last week.
Yeah.
And I probably could have kept listening for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, do you guys want these episodes longer? Do you like the lengths they're at now? Message like a range, like whether it's 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to an hour. I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're going to change. I'm just curious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and to kind of piggyback off that, we started at I think it was kind of random intervals. Then we went to specifically right about 20 minutes for a little bit. Then sometimes we were yappers, and that seemed to do well. So, yeah, I'm actually super curious to hear that as well. Also, if you're listening for more than 20 minutes, I want to know y'all's commute.
Yeah.
I feel like y'all living way out in the sticks. But hey, man, yeah, well, like he said, let us know the podcast duration, and we'll actually listen.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate you guys.
All right, y'all. Talk to you next time.